So good morning, everyone. My name's Ian Mayer. Unlike the last two people on the stage, I have not broken my shoulder. So this, of course, means within the next 20 minutes, I am doomed to fall off this stage and break my shoulder. So there's some excitement for you to look out for during this presentation. So today, though, I want to talk to you about the intelligent enterprise. And so I want to change the conversation a little bit away from just data and towards intelligence. Now, just before I start that, though, I work for MicroStrategy, which is an American company, so my first slide is written by lawyers, and I have to put that up. But just to skip over that, then, talking a little bit about, well, what does the intelligent enterprise mean? What is driving this need for intelligence? And I don't think there are any big surprises here for any of you. Of course, nowadays we see the emergence of AI and machine learning and its effects on analytics and BI. And I've been doing business intelligence for many years, both as a developer, as a product manager, and as a user. I'm one of those guys who really loves data. You know, I love getting a data set, I love digging into it, and I love finding these insights. And then I go look at all these artificial intelligence demos where they feed the data set to the machine, and the machine spits back all these insights that I would have taken hours to find, and then a whole bunch of other things that I never thought of. And I kind of go, oh man, I'm out of a job here. This is not good. Now, the good news is it actually makes our lives much simpler, because it shaves off the hours of finding and justifying the stuff I already knew, and lets me, the guy who likes to play with data, go in and spend the time looking at the things that the machine couldn't find. I'm now in a game of beat the machine, which is a lot of fun. But there is another interesting thing I've seen emerge as all these algorithms and that become more and more pervasive, and that's a reemergence of governance. And I call it a reemergence because I think back to the days when I first started in BI, and the buzzword back then was the single version of the truth, right? The idea that you have this central organization that would pull together all your data and create this wonderful data warehouse, and they would lock everything down because that was the truth and you shall never change it, right? And that worked for a while. That at least for those of us in the BI industry, we sold a lot on that promise. But of course, then what ended up happening is that people don't like being locked down. So that's when we started to see the emergence of self-service tools, of course, people going out to Excel and other things to go in and bring in their own data and build their own analytics outside of this big governed monster. And now we've kind of come back full circle. I was speaking to an old friend of mine this morning about how this industry really does work in cycles. And we're starting to see now, after many years of enabling and empowering the business to do their own analytics, we yet again don't know what to trust. And so we need to start looking at how do we bring back some of these governance structures without sacrificing that agility. But the other interesting thing for me in this too is when the machine learning and the algorithms come into the picture, it becomes broader than just what we traditionally thought of as governance, and really brings in these concepts of compliance and regulation. And I'm sure everyone here knows about GDPR and personal data, and that's much more on the agenda than it ever has been in the past. But also, beyond just the regulation, we really now have a duty as data practitioners to start thinking about the ethics of what we do as well, right? And I don't know if you've seen in the press over the last few days, there's been a lot with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica and all the work the shady work they've done there, stealing data and or doing essentially very nefarious things with data. And these sorts of things are going to become more and more commonplace as these scenarios explode. So this is something that I think, at least for me as a person working in the BI industry, I hadn't thought much about before. And we need to have this in the forefront of our minds, because if we think about this, we don't want our companies to be the next person on the front page, or the next ones on the front page of the New York Times because of a data breach or an ethical violation there. And the last one, too, is there's a fundamental change in the structure of data. I mean, I think all of these buzzwords, IoT and cloud and big data, have been mentioned by pretty much every presentation that you're going to see here, because they're so common. But it really does strike me that the fundamental way that we work with data has changed and is changing. I was actually really shocked yesterday, just before I got on the plane to fly here. I had a call with a customer of ours, and they told me, our data warehouse will be shut down by the end of the year. We're putting everything in a data lake, and that's what we're going to be using. No more traditional SQL data warehouse. So if you think about that, that's a massive shift. We've been doing data warehousing for I don't know how long, and that's now completely transforming and changing how we look at data. And so what does this all mean to the intelligent enterprise? And, well, of course, there's a lot of complexity here to deal with, and there's a great quote that came from a customer of ours during a customer council a few years ago that really struck me, and that's, "The humans need help." And we were talking about this in the context of artificial intelligence and what does it mean, and they said, well, yeah, we need AI because the humans need help. We can't deal with this complexity. We can't deal with all this data, all these challenges ourselves. We need the machines and the tools to help us do that. And so that was a quote that really struck me, and I don't think quite in the way he meant it, though, because I started thinking about, well, how do we need help, and who needs help? And so who are the people using this intelligence in the intelligent enterprise? Some of them we know very well. If we start here with the developers and administrators. When I look at I looked at the conference guide during some of the breaks and took a look at everyone's job titles, and I think most of us in this room will probably fit into this area. We're the ones who are running these data systems. We're the ones who are building the reports and the content, keeping it running and delivering this out to everyone, and we're the ones who've been doing BI for a very long time. We're very technical. We like things like SQL and databases and know all that stuff. I certainly kind of count myself in that area. And we've heard a lot about we've talked a lot for many years about self-service. We said, well, we can't build the developers, the practitioners can't build everything for everyone. We need to enable the business to build stuff themselves. The business users and the analysts, they need to be able to go in and work with and visualize data themselves. We've been saying this for many years. I mean, self-service has been a dream for a very, very long time. But it turns out that there aren't actually that many of those when you look into an organization. And many years back, when I first got into became a product manager, I got involved in some research on some of this, and we found that this research was really, really shocking for those of us who believed that self-service was the future. Because what it showed us is that we went in and we surveyed workers and people in many different industries and many different businesses, and it turned out that something on the order of 90% of people have no analytic curiosity whatsoever. They have no desire to work with data. They do not want to create visualizations. They do not want to slice and dice and combine things and blend data and find these insights. They have no interest in it at all. And like I said, that was a really shocking finding. And honestly, I think, like I said, I think we found out about 7 years ago, and I think it has honestly taken me 7 years to accept. And I'll admit that I didn't come to accept it until I realized the differences between me and my wife. Because I'm the sort of person who will do that slice and dice. Anything numerical, she won't touch. She doesn't like data. She doesn't even trust data. She only trusts data when it confirms that she already knows, something she already knows. But the interesting thing is that she loves information and intelligence. So she'll never look at data, but we live in Paris, and when we're getting on the metro, if that little blinker saying how many minutes till the next train is coming is not working, she gets really upset. I mean, that's a classic example of analytics. It's data-driven, but she's got no interest in why it works. She just wants that information right there. And that's actually what most people are. And that's what we call, in our model, the workforce. The people who want information and not data, and they don't want to go to a BI system or a tool to get it. They want it right where they work. And that fundamentally, I think, is what we as analytics professionals need to deliver to them. We don't need to deliver them a new tool. We don't need to deliver them self-service. We need to get them, we need to figure out how to deliver the most relevant information to them exactly where they need it. And so I want to show you just a few things that we at MicroStrategy believe can really help along that, and how we believe we can enable intelligence in the enterprise. And of course, I work for MicroStrategy, so I'm going to show you our examples. But really, I would think of these as inspiration, because you can do these. You can get started with, we'd love it if you used us, but think of these as just great use cases to get more people using data. And we fundamentally believe that there's 3 things that we need to do to enable this workforce. Of course, things need to be simple. They need to be pervasive across all medium. So that's the idea of not going to a separate tool, and embedded right into the jobs they're already doing. So I'll show you here just an example of pervasive. Couple interesting things here. Actually, if you ever visit MicroStrategy headquarters, we have video walls everywhere. If you're a MicroStrategy executive, outside your office is a big screen TV showing all your group's KPIs for the whole world to see. But the interfaces that we work with are changing. So we've gone from seeing visualizations on the screen, touch with mobile, and now if we look towards the future, devices like from Amazon and Google, talking and speech interfaces, and actually says here the future, the secret is the future is now. We actually can do this stuff today. And as well, things like natural language. And I'm just going to show here, there's a quick demo I'll let run while I'm talking here of a chatbot. So this is basically, instead of getting your data from a report, just ask for the information you need. This is all being run, taking data out of your corporate systems, out of the existing analytics systems. You don't have to go find the report you need. You just ask it what you want. It knows all your context. It knows who you are, so it knows what you have access to. It remembers your previous questions, so it can give you everything. You can do everything in context without having to restate everything. And the nice thing is because it's personalized, it can remember you. So if you ask it a few questions and come back, you can just say, hello, tell me what I need to know. And it says, We looked, nothing's changed since we reran all your questions, nothing's changed, go take another break. So a real new way of interacting with reports. Imagine getting your reports that way instead of in the traditional way. But for me, I think the most exciting thing is this idea of embedded and putting analytics directly into the tools that people work with every day. And I think that's actually one of the biggest sources of friction to people working with data, is that they don't want to learn something new to do it, right? As I said, they don't even have that curiosity to begin with. They certainly don't want to learn a new tool. They want to just get information without even kind of knowing that they need it. So I'm going to show you, this is a prototype we've developed. It's something that actually plugs into your browser that lets you integrate analytics into any application or website. So here I am. This is Outlook. It's Office 365. Looking at email, and we're going to turn on our plugin here. And this plugin, in our plugin, we set this up to index customer information. And when it's turned on, anytime a customer of ours is mentioned in an email, it's highlighted. And if I hover over that, I instantly get the key information for that customer. I don't have to go look it up anywhere. I don't have to switch into other systems. It's right there in front of me as I hover over it. So you can see actually, and it pulls that in from multiple systems, gives you a nice synthesized report, and it works like not just in your email, but this is something that we can embed in any application and anywhere on the web. So I'm just looking at a web page here. You know, you could be reading the New York Times. Oh, one of your customers comes up, you can look, see. So imagine if you're a salesperson, you know, you get an email from a customer, or you're reading the news and you see something about your customer, you can right away find out all the information you need to know about that. You don't have to go searching around for it, right in the tools that you work with every day. And you can, and this can all, of course, be customized to the context of whatever business you are. And this fundamentally, I think, is what I see as the future of BI. So when us as BI and analytics practitioners think this is the sort of thing that we need to look to enable. It's not really about creating a new set of reports. It's not about enabling people to create their own visualizations or doing self-service. It's how do we get this information right into the work that these people do every day. And that essentially is my thesis for the future of BI. You can see a lot of this in action if you come by our booth. I'm now going to do the shameless plug for the company. Please come by and visit us if you want to find out more. We have some demos of this, as well as augmented reality and voice recognition technology. You can see how you can deliver all these insights directly into pretty much any workflow. So please come and visit us if you want to know more. And thank you very much.